running through the aisles, posing like Bruce Willis on the cover of Die Hard, crushing on Julia Stiles on the cover of 10 Things I Hate About You, or walking past The Exorcist with my eyes closed. Blockbuster Video was my home for the last 5 years of its life. My father brought my family to that big blue ticket stub every weekend to choose a movie. After its defeat by the likenesses of Netflix and Hulu, we said goodbye to Blockbuster Video. However, as the world, my family, and my character underwent changes as life chugged along, the environment of film held me close, ultimately shaping me into the young man I've become today. So as much as I wish I could say that was off the dome, that was actually an excerpt from my college admission essay to the film school at the University of Texas at Austin, which I surprisingly didn't get into. I know, I'm as surprised as you are, but it's fine. I mean, it all worked out. We're here. I don't really blame anybody for that. I don't blame the school. I don't blame myself. You know, I gave it my best effort. I do somewhat kind of blame Matthew McConaughey. I don't know. I never liked that guy's last name. I tried to spell it in my script and it came out like this and I knew it was wrong and I was like, that's why I didn't get in. But I don't know. Maybe I wasn't enough for him. Maybe I'm not good enough for Matthew McConaughey or something's wrong with me. I don't know. Maybe I hate him. Maybe I hate him with all my heart. I'm just kidding, Matthew. You know I'm just joking. I don't hate you. If you ever want to do like Interstellar 2 or something, just call me up. I'll be a black hole. I don't know. Whatever you want, man. Just call me, man. Please call me. I'm not mad at all. Anyways, all this is to say that for a large period of my life, the movies my family and I watched were very heavily influenced by what was on the cover of the DVD, the box. Essentially what the movie poster was at the time. Let's turn back the clock. Let's give Father Time a ring. Ring, ring. Hello, Father Time. We'd like to go back into the past and maybe see a couple... What am I doing? Let's turn back the clock to a time before everything was so accessible through the phone and the internet. A time where people would just go to the movies on a Saturday afternoon or go to Blockbuster on a Friday night. Or I don't know why I'm giving weekdays. That part doesn't matter. But they would see the promotional material or a poster at the theater and be like, that looks pretty sick. I'm going to check that out. And choose a movie that way. Things were much easier. I think it's time we took a little lesson. Hi. Welcome to Principles of Movie Posters 1. My name is Professor Dr. McCrunkle. That's my name. The earliest movie posters can be traced back to the 1890s by a French artist named Jules Charest. Now, the purpose of these posters was mostly just to tell people, hey, we're showing a movie, here's where it is, baguette, croissant. I don't know what French people say, but stuff like that. It's very bare bones. The studio saw how influential the posters were being to get butts into seats at the theater, and so started pouring money into it, eventually hiring artists to hand draw these posters between the 1930s and the 1950s to show the stars of the film, you know, the premise of the film, and show the thrill of the cinematic experience to get people to go watch the movies. For the next 50 years, movie posters got more and more creative, highlighting different styles and themes in order to match with the audience's preferences at the time. For example, in the 60s and 70s, movie posters were a lot more creative, psychedelic, and rebellious to match the attitude of the movie-watching audience at that time. Or in the 80s, they became more subtle, minimalistic, in order to better suit the wants and desires of their audiences. Now, let's bring it back to the year of our Lord, 2026. Now, today, who makes movie posters? Is it internal? Is it a design studio? Is it a third party, much like a trailer house? Now, knowing that I'm a very adept and not lazy researcher, I decided to just Google it. And with the help of Google's wonderful Gemini AI, I found my answer. The people that make movie posters today are poster designers and companies, which is really straightforward and clear, not vague at all. Thank you, AI. After that beautifully illustrated answer from the artificial intelligence that is threatening to take over our world and happiness, I had to open up more avenues of research. That is, instead of Wikipedia, I found some Reddit threads. I found that for most of the big movie studios, not all of them, their marketing team comes up with a concept and then works with animators and digital photo manipulators to create advertisements through media. So your Instagram story ads, your bus stop ads, and your movie posters. They circle them around for a while with the execs of the studio, the distributors, and the actor guilds, give and take notes until they finalize and then send it off to publish. I read that right off the script because for the life of me, I could not remember what I wrote down, and there's nothing you can do about it. I'm the professor. You know what? Matter of fact, if you're mad about it, 0. You're expulsioned. You're expelled. You're expelled from the school. 0. Get out of my class. Anyways, if you did not mind me reading off script, that is the rundown on movie posters. Thank you so much for joining Dr. Professor McCrunkle, I think that's what it was. Thank you so much for joining me for today's course. Please meet back here at 3 p.m. for our health course, where we will be finding out where pee is stored. It rhymes with in the halls. Today, we have some genuinely really great, beautiful posters, while also having some of the most boring, godforsaken, eye vomit-inducing pieces of garbage that legitimately blinded one of my friends. Steven, we're all rooting for you. Please get better. Let's start with some of today's bad trends. Firstly, I'd like to talk about what I call the meh poster. You see this quite often. It's the main actor, maybe the secondary actor, on the front. Their name's pretty big, in a generic background, maybe a tertiary, unimportant object. They're very cheap and easy to make. I don't think these types of posters are ever going to go away. For example, let's look at A Quiet Place Day 1. You got your two main players, stuff in the background. Doesn't really say much, you know? Another big offender that we see today is what is known as the floating head poster, which is, again, you have your one or two main players in the front, and then, I don't know, the supporting cast is just kind of hovering about this generic background. And then maybe you have a guy with a gun somewhere, or an explosion, boom! Or like the antagonist is just somewhere in there, spooky, whoa, which is, it's a lot. The floating head poster is just the next natural evolution of the meh poster. You see them often because they're relatively easy to make and they show off the ensemble. But sometimes they're just bad edits and convoluted and just not nice to look at. You know, I frankly hate them. I wish I could spit on them. Puh. Hawk Tuah on that thing. The Marvel Cinematic Universe might be one of the biggest culprits of the floating head poster. Let's just take a look at Spider-Man Homecoming. Why is Tony Stark bigger than Peter Parker in the Spider-Man movie? How many Happy Hogan fans are going to tune into this movie because he's on the poster? And also, who the fuck is this guy? He has like one line, and then he dies. Spoiler, he's dead. Why is he here? We can also look at Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania for all 4 people who saw it. Where are they? Who is this? Do we care about these people? Actually, please let me know, because I tried watching it 3 times, but it was always after a night out at the bars, and I'd end up falling asleep 20 minutes in with McDonald's on my chest. So I'm not really sure. I would actually appreciate it if you let me know. Another example is Iron Man 3, which really pains me to say because it is a top-tier MCU movie, and you can argue with your mother about that. If Iron Man 3 has no fans, I am dead. It's got very egregious floating head syndrome going on. The MCU is a prime example, but there are plenty of other offenders. We have Dune, Furiosa, Last Night in Soho, Rogue One, Star Trek, even the Batman has floating head syndrome, which is fine, I guess. I mean, I understand why they do this. Hollywood will always have those actors that are household names. I mean, they've been doing this since like the 50s, which I could talk more about, but I wasn't alive then, so it doesn't really matter. They know that if they put an actor that is well-liked, real big on the poster, it'll get butts in seats. Oh, I like that little Shyamalan guy and that girl from Shake It Up. We should check out Dune this weekend. But it has no sauce. It has negative sauce. You just see who's going to be in the movie and hope that they have enough pull to bring in an audience. But when it's oversaturated in a market like this, who cares? This movie looks no different than this movie, which looks no different than this movie. Whether you're scrolling through Netflix, or at the cinemas, or 8 years old walking through a Blockbuster video, it all feels the same. It seems like movie studios are relying very heavily on their star power to market their films, but there are a lot of actors that I know and like, and there are a lot of movies that I know I want to see. But if they all have one of the hundreds of people who are hot in Hollywood at the moment, then what sets it apart? In the words of Syndrome from The Incredibles, when everyone's super, no one will be. But instead of super, we're floating heads in an ether. We're all this guy from Spider-Man Homecoming. Who the fuck is this guy? Whew, sorry, I got a little carried away. Let's have some fun. I want to highlight a couple of really, really bad movie posters that I've seen over the years. X-Men First Class. Why is he in his crotch? Ready Player One. Whoa, look at this guy's fucking leg. Is this Wemby? Is this Victor Wembanyama from the San Antonio Spurs? Shaggy Dog. Jesus Christ, take it off. Take it off the screen. Take it off. One missed call. I can't tell if this is awful or great. It's really hard to look at, but I don't know. Is it ass? Let me know. I love belittling someone's work and career. Here's something that I find very frustrating about a lot of these big blockbusters that fall victim to floating head syndrome. Their alternate posters for their IMAX screenings or Dolby screenings are usually more creative and unique than their main release counterparts. For example, Dune has such a beautiful, much better alternative. And Dune 2 has a pretty sick IMAX poster too. F1, for example, also has some really dope alternates. Look at them. I said earlier that Batman fell victim to the floating head poster. However, when you look at some of the alternates, this is art. It gives you more of the actual vibe of the movie. It matches the themes better. You come away with something. Even just this close-up of Robbie P. in the Batman cowl. And I'm not just saying that because Robert Pattinson's a good-looking guy. This gives you a much better idea of what this movie is about rather than who's in the movie. The reason I wanted to make this video was because I saw the Alien Romulus poster about 2 years ago when I wrote this script, and then I sat on it because I'm lazy. The main one, already fire. I really like it. But then you look at the alternates. You look at the IMAX. You look at the 4DX. You look at the Dolby ones. And you can tell that a creative team really reached deep in their bag to make what I consider actual art. Let's make this a game. I'm going to show you a theatrical mainline poster, and then I'm going to show you its alternate, and then we're going to compare. You're going to tell me which one is better. You can say it into your computer or your phone or wherever you're watching this, but you have to say something, because if not, I'm playing the game by myself and it's really, really awkward. So trust me, I will hear you, but you have to say which one you like better out loud. I will know if you don't. Hunger Games: The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Mainline. Alternate. Godzilla 2014. Mainline. Alternate. Iron Man 3. Mainline. Alternate. And Cars 3. Mainline. Alternate. The alternates kind of are parallels of each other, which I think is really sick. I think they came out around the same time, and they're just sort of signifying the same sort of themes in the movie. So yeah, it's alternates. You won. You got them all right. It's all the alternates are way better. Promise. Thank you for playing. Thank you for participating. Except for you. I know you didn't. You. Not you. You. You watching. You didn't play, and I know. Shame. Shame this person. Yes, the easiest option is to just Photoshop everybody into the poster and use their star power to promote them and not have to waste time waiting for a designer to get their idea down and talk with the group and be like, is this marketable? And money, 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 I'm a businessman. But if there is an opportunity for a designer or an artist to have a vision, to collaborate with others and see it differently, promote it differently, why not give them that option as a mainline poster? Why do I have to go through Twitter or X? Don't call it X. If you call it X, you're pretentious. I can only find those alternate posters through Twitter or through a few posters at the cinema, but why not give them that opportunity? Give those artists, those designers that clearly love what they do, give them the opportunity to show off their work. I just don't get it. Anyways, while we're here, let's just highlight a couple of my favorites. This Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace poster is just beautiful. It makes the little nerd in me so happy. I have to fight him coming out like a werewolf transformation. Spider-Man 3, Aura. Just ultimate aura. Into the Spider-Verse. Again, gorgeous, colorful. It's the coolest shot in the movie, and it just feels so Spider-Man. Challengers, it shows that it's Zendaya, but it shows so much more about the themes of that movie, and it's just very pleasing to look at. I love it. Halloween is iconic, fit for the times. How I was talking about in the 80s, they went for more minimalistic looks, and Halloween fits that. Batman 89, it's just a logo, and it's so raw. I don't know. I wish they didn't even say Batman. It was just a logo. That'd be so sick. Even Pixels, I'm like, damn, that's a really cool poster. Recently, we've gotten quite a few good ones. Recently being about a year ago when I wrote this part of the script. But like Thunderbolts has some creative posters. Novocaine has some really great posters. 28 Years Later has a beautiful poster. Even Drop, I'm a big fan of the Drop poster. I'm not entirely sure why. And Superman was just, even this Superman poster shows off the supporting cast in a better way than I think a floating head poster would have. I guess my point is that movie posters started off as a marketing tactic, and at their core, that's still what they are. But also, they can be so much more than that. They can get tushes in seats, but they can also convey themes. They can also let an artist express themselves and let their creative juices flow to try and find different ways to pique the audience's interest. Yes, I'm sure that the current trends do work. That's why they're popular. It still makes public interest happen for the film, but so does eliciting emotion. I'll let you in on a little secret. We do judge books by their cover. Sometimes.
You can't sit with us!
I might pick this shit up because it's gross and I'm a little goblin man, but it's interesting. And this makes me feel nothing. This doesn't make me feel anything. This is just another movie. Graphic design is a very hard field to enter, and I don't think that these people's goals and the reason they work so hard was so they could Photoshop heads on a generic background so people would go visit Nicole Kidman at AMC. I don't. Additionally, as well as in addition to, I just don't think we talk about movie posters enough anymore. They've become an underappreciated medium, and perhaps that's why movie studios have gotten complacent about their posters, because in today's current climate of trailers being so easily accessible through the phone and word of mouth and hype really marketing these movies, a good creative poster just kind of goes under the radar sometimes. Not many people really appreciate a great movie poster, at least not as much as I would like them to, and everyone should cater to my wants and needs. So please, if you do anything after this video, please be a little more mindful of movie posters. Give them a little extra TLC. Feel free to rattle off some of your favorite and least favorite movie posters, maybe anything that sticks out to you. Also, if you made it this far, please feel free to send me the word of the day, that being octave. I'm not entirely sure how you say that, so let me know how you say that and say it to me. Comment the word of the day or send it to me so I can show you a little extra love for taking the time to listen to me. Thank you so much for watching my video. Thank you. I love you. Good night.